Okay, so think about this. We use money constantly, right? Tapping phones, swiping cards, checking balances online. But how much do we really get what's going on behind the scenes? Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, the dynamics and functions of modern money. Our goal here is simple: cut through the confusion, break down what money actually is, how it, flows around, and its surprisingly big role in, well, everything.
Yeah, it's one of those things we just take for granted, isn't it? But when you stop and look, it's fascinating. It seems so solid, but it's really based on ideas, on trust, and it's just vital.
Totally vital. So let's start right at the beginning, the basics. We all know money helps us trade, it sets prices, lets us save up, plan for the future with things like loans. But what's the key thing people miss about, like, its fundamental nature?
Well, the big one is that it's fundamentally a medium of exchange, something everyone agrees to accept. It gets rid of that whole messy barter problem, finding someone who wants your specific thing. And crucially, it's a unit of account, a common yardstick. That lets us price things, track debts. You really need that for any kind of organized economy.
Right, so it's like a universal scoreboard, not just cash for spending.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because we have that scoreboard, that common measure, it can also work as a store of value. I mean, generally it holds its purchasing power better than, say, a basket of apples,
Yeah.
though we always have to remember inflation. And finally, that function is a standard of deferred payment. That's what makes credit, loans, all that future stuff possible. Big enabler for investment.
That's a huge step up from just trading goats for grain. And money itself has changed forms quite a bit. You had commodity money, gold, silver, stuff with actual value in itself. Then came fiat money, like the rupees or dollars we use now. It only works because the government says so, and critically, because we all trust it. Then there's bank money, mostly digital numbers and accounts, created when banks lend. And now, these newer things, digital currencies, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, decentralized blockchain stuff.
Yeah, in today's economies,
Yeah.
they mostly run on that fiat and digital money. It's all managed by central banks and the commercial banks we use every day,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of brings us neatly into how it all works, the mechanics.
Okay, this is the part I think blows a lot of minds. How is money actually made? Most people probably think the central bank just, I don't know, prints stacks of cash.
Uh-huh.
And yes, the central bank, like the Fed or the RBI, does issue what's called base money physical notes and the reserves commercial banks hold. But the vast majority, it's actually created by commercial banks through lending. It's called the fractional reserve system.
It does surprise people. So you deposit, let's say, 1,000 rupees. The bank doesn't just stash it in a vault. It has to keep a fraction, maybe 100 rupees, depending on regulations as reserves.
Yeah.
But the rest, say 900 rupees, it lends that out. And here's the key. That loan creates a new deposit of 900 rupees in the borrower's account. Poof, new money. That new money gets spent, deposited elsewhere, and the process can repeat. It multiplies.
Wow. So banks are basically creating money out of thin air when they make loans. If they're creating so much, what stops it from getting out of control? How does the central bank keep a lead on it?
Good question. That's the central bank's main job, really.
Yeah.
Managing the overall money supply, keeping the economy stable. They have tools. Monetary policy is the big one. They can change key interest rates, like the rate commercial banks borrow from them. That affects all other loan rates.
Like the repo rate.
Exactly, the repo rate. Or they use open market operations, buying or selling government bonds. Buying injects money into the system, selling pulls it out.
And everything's going digital now, too. Most money isn't physical cash, it's just electronic entries, online banking, cards.
Precisely. And we're seeing even newer forms emerge. Things like central bank digital currencies or CBDCs, governments exploring their own digital cash. Plus, cryptocurrencies keep, pushing the boundaries, challenging how we even think about money.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit. Beyond the transactions, what's money's bigger role? It clearly fuels economic growth, right? Investment, spending, making things. You need money flowing for the economy, for GDP, for jobs.
Absolutely vital. It's the lubricant for the economic engine. And governments use it constantly through fiscal policy, borrowing, spending on infrastructure, services, plus taxation subsidies. Those are ways governments redirect money flows to shape society, fund public goods.
And for us as individuals, it's huge. It's our savings, how we invest. It's tied up with our wealth, our standard of living, your access to money, to credit. It really shapes your opportunities in life, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Which leads to a really important point, the social impact. When money isn't distributed evenly, you get significant inequalities.
Yeah.
Social gaps, economic divides. That's why efforts around financial inclusion, getting more people access to basic banking, credit, are so critical worldwide, trying to level that playing field a bit.
So, wrapping this up then,
Hmm.
modern money. It's mostly fiat, increasingly digital, runs on trust and government backing. Central banks issue the base, but commercial banks create most of it through lending. And its functions go way beyond just buying stuff. It's about saving, investing, policy, how our society is even structured.
Yeah, fundamentally, money isn't just coins or apps. It's this incredibly dynamic system. It's constantly evolving, and it underpins, well, pretty much everything in our modern world.
It really makes you think.
Yeah.
So here's something to ponder. With digital currencies and fintech evolving so fast, how might all this change not just how you manage your money, but the actual shape of global economies, maybe even daily life itself in the years to come? Definitely something to keep an eye on. We'll leave you with that thought until our next deep dive.